Jacky Davis. I am a digital ag solutions marketing lead for Syngenta crop protection.
As a past attendee of both an in-person and online program with the Center for Food and Agricultural Business, did you feel you were able to receive the same level of faculty interaction through each program method?
I would say the faculty was still very much interactive in the sense of both the in-person and virtual experience that I had with trainings with Purdue. I was very happy to see that even, obviously great engagement when you're in person, right? They're there, you're able to ask questions, it's really easy. But I would argue that even in the virtual setting, when there were issues with, pre-work or maybe that somebody needed to reach out just to clarify something that maybe I had done in my pre-work, I got a lot of engagement from the faculty and the support staff as well. I never really felt like I had to wait too long to get a response. It was always really quickly. And I would say because of that attentiveness, I never really felt like the faculty skipped a beat because they were very, focused on making the program successful.
Was the networking experience in the online program valuable? If so, why?
I would say that the networking opportunity on the virtual is slightly different, right, from the personable. It's really easy when you're in person to be able to have those sidebar conversations, grab somebody before, we get into class, talk to each other when we're having lunch or dinner. It became a little bit more difficult, respectfully, in the virtual. I would say where the most engagement came from the opportunity to network on the virtual was when we did a breakout group. Because then you're in that smaller setting and you're all engaging because you have a conversation or a topic that you have to address and an assignment that you're trying to accomplish together. And that gave me the opportunity to introduce yourselves to each other. A lot of times there were people I had not interacted with before. And so I got to learn people on another side of the company. And after I did one of those virtual trainings, I actually reached out to a few of them afterwards just to follow up because I had questions about that side of the company and was there opportunity for us to connect after us being in that training together. So I definitely say there's always value in that, right? Whenever you have a cross-functional group of people coming together in a training, there's always the opportunity to make those connections, whether it be, in person or virtual.
What was the peer-to-peer learning experience like in both the online and in-person programs? Which did you prefer?
So from a peer-to-peer kind of learning experience, the personal, obviously, like I mentioned before, I feed off of people's energy. So it's easy for me to be in a room and kind of feel energized. And so you do feel like you get a lot, you see body language, you have the opportunity to kind of cut up maybe a little bit more. You get to see a sense of people's personality and kind of where they're coming from. So I do, it's a little bit easier because the setting is a little more relaxed to some degree. Virtual, we again, you still get those same opportunities, but you may not get the full experience. And that's, it's a product of the fact of it being virtual. There's not much that you can do when you're trying to stay healthy around a pandemic. But I do think that people at least try to engage. And like I said, you get into those kind of peer-to-peer small group settings on a virtual meeting, and we all go around and kind of give our experience and talk about, where we're coming from. So, you still get components of it. It just doesn't feel as maybe relaxed or, like you're sitting around kind of enjoying each other's, company.
Were the different channels used in the online program, such as the pre-recorded videos, live sessions, and group work helpful?
I personally found the pre-work to be a really good way to kind of set your brain towards what you're about to go into. And there were a number of times, especially in the previous work that we had done and the training that we did, where the pre-work set us up perfectly that we didn't have to do a lot of the conversation up front and direction telling before we went to our breakout groups, because we had all gone through the assignment and we all kind of already conceptually knew what we were going to do. We had a nice lecture in the morning, and then it was like, okay, you have enough information that you can complete this assignment together. Some of the feedback I'd gotten from other colleagues was sometimes it's hard to get that pre-work done ahead of time. I thought the center did a good job of giving us about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and they even did so well as to send some of the content to us as well. So like being able to flip through that and kind of get a preview, it's always nice to do before, because then you have a nice grounded sense of what you're getting into. So I thought like snapping everything into videos was pretty helpful. That way you can concentrate on watching a video while you're having lunch or having a snack or in between meetings. It just made it a little bit more easy to digest, in my opinion, than to have to sit through and carve out an hour and a half to read through a bunch of material.
Mhm.
So I just found that it gave the flexibility for the student or the user to be able to go through and gain that content on their own.
What challenges, if any, did you face in the online program that you would prefer to avoid in the future if possible?
There aren't many things that I can think about from the virtual trainings that could be done differently, because I think the center has done such a great job of using all the tools that they have in the best of their capacity. For instance, the breakout groups, I know I've mentioned, but I find those to be some of the best tools that we could have to really spice up a training. A whiteboard being available. I really couldn't think of anything that made me go, man, they're not using the right tools, or they're not really, using the right things, because it felt like one of the smoother trainings I had been through virtually.